Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all the esteemed trainees joining us today. As you dive into this rigorous, beautifully rewarding 42-day technical teacher certificate batch, it's absolutely crucial to ground all that incredible technical expertise you have into a real, deep understanding of the young minds you're going to be shaping. Have you ever wondered why a perfectly designed technical lesson, literally perfect on paper, sometimes just completely misses the mark with certain students? Well, today's explainer is designed as a core classroom transaction to answer exactly that. We're going to decode the very science of how a child grows, how they think, and how they behave. And trust me, by the end of this session, you're going to look at your future students through a completely transformed lens.
Right, let's jump straight into this magnificent master blueprint. This is basically a mega matrix, drawing from the absolute greatest minds in developmental psychology. We're talking Herlock, Piaget, Chomsky, Kohlberg, and Erikson. It beautifully tracks the whole journey from infancy all the way through to adulthood. And rather than looking at these theories in isolation, which, let's be honest, can be a bit dry, we can see exactly how cognitive leaps, physical growth, and emotional shifts are all happening simultaneously. Think of this as your ultimate, indispensable cheat sheet for understanding exactly what your students are going through at any given age. So here is our roadmap for today's module. We'll quickly move through the 6 domains of growth, tackle the physical and emotional foundations, decode cognition and language, navigate Kohlberg's moral stages, explore Erikson's psychosocial journey, and then finally tie the whole shebang together for holistic student development. All right, moving to section 1, the 6 domains of growth. Let's start from the ground up. These 6 domains right here, physical, cognitive, language, social, emotional, and moral, they form the absolute foundation of our pedagogical framework. They dictate everything from a child's muscle control to their moral compass. As educators, we sometimes get a bit tunnel-visioned, focusing entirely on the cognitive or language aspects, the reading, the writing, the pure technical skills. But true education, it requires us to recognize that physical, social, emotional, and moral growth are all happening right there, all at once, inside the student sitting in front of you. To put this into a clear perspective, psychologist Elizabeth Herlock anchors this entire developmental journey with a very neat chronological timeline. We've got infancy from 0 to 2 years, early childhood up to 6, middle childhood, covering those primary years from 6 to 12, the famously turbulent adolescence from 12 to 18, and finally adulthood at 18 plus. Keep these specific age brackets firmly in your mind, okay? Because they provide the structural framework for literally all the psychological theories we're about to unpack. Moving right along to section 2, let's look at the bedrock of a child's early life, their physical and emotional foundations. Physical development is this continuous, unstoppable process from birth to adulthood, encompassing the vital growth of the senses and motor coordination. And I want to stress this, it isn't just about a child getting taller or putting on weight. In your technical classrooms, this translates directly to their fine motor skills. Can they properly grip a heavy tool? Can they hold a precision pen steady? Can they manipulate delicate technical instruments? Their physical stamina and sensory integration are constantly evolving throughout their time in your batch. Now, walking hand in hand with the physical is the emotional domain, which also spans that entire 0 to 18 plus range. It is absolutely critical for building a student's self-confidence. This is all about how a child learns to understand their own complex feelings, express them appropriately, and, most importantly for us, develop self-control. Let's be real. A student who is quietly struggling with emotional regulation is going to naturally struggle to safely operate heavy machinery or maintain the focus needed for a complex technical blueprint. Let's move to section 3, decoding cognition and language, where things get really fascinating regarding how our students think and speak. You can think of cognitive development as the actual engine of the mind. It drives memory and problem solving straight through to adulthood. Whenever you are teaching complex technical concepts, you are interacting directly with this domain. It's all about their capacity to grasp brand new ideas, memorize standard operating procedures, and logically reason their way through practical, hands-on challenges. And here is where it gets incredibly cool. Notice the direct, striking parallel between Piaget's early cognitive stages and Chomsky's language phases in those crucial first 7 years. Piaget's sensory motor stage, where babies learn through touch and movement, aligns perfectly with Chomsky's pre-linguistic phase of babbling. Then, as the child enters Piaget's pre-operational stage, where they start using symbols and imagination, they simultaneously hit Chomsky's early linguistic stage, rapidly picking up vocabulary. The mind and the tongue are basically developing in perfect synchronization. As your batch of students gets a bit older, you see them shift into formal operational thinking and true linguistic maturity side by side. From ages 7 to 12, Piaget notes they enter the concrete operational stage. They can think logically, sure, but only about concrete physical objects right in front of them. Chomsky notes this is when linguistic competence really solidifies. But then, at 11 years and above, that's where the real magic happens. They enter the formal operational stage. Now they are capable of abstract thought, complex technical reasoning, and advanced linguistic creativity. For you as TTC trainees, this is exactly the stage where your most advanced technical teaching is going to truly take root. Let's shift gears to Section 4, Navigating Morality. How exactly do students learn right from wrong? Enter Lawrence Kohlberg. Interestingly, before age 5, a child doesn't truly grasp morality in a complex, internalized way. But from 5 onwards, that's when they kick off the lifelong journey of understanding ethical decisions, values, and responsibility. They start to really grasp honesty and integrity. And let's face it, those are traits that are absolutely indispensable in any professional or technical field they're going to enter as adults. Kohlberg defines the critical 6 to 12-year window as the conventional level. Here, students are highly motivated by obedience and, quite frankly, just wanting to be perceived as good. It's a phase you'll see all the time in primary education. They desperately want to please the teacher, that's the good boy or good girl orientation, and they become super rigid about following rules, which Kohlberg calls the law and order stage. Just picture that earnest young student who insists on cleaning the workshop tools exactly to your specifications, simply because, well, the teacher said so. This framework tracks their entire moral evolution. They start down at the pre-conventional stage, essentially just trying to avoid punishment. But by adolescence, ages 12 to 18, they elevate to the post-conventional stage. Now they start to understand that rules are actually social contracts designed for the greater good, not just blind commands from authority. Finally, as adults, they strive to operate on universal ethical principles. Understanding these distinct stages allows you to manage classroom discipline with a profound sense of empathy. Okay, moving on to Section 5. Let's pivot to Erikson, who beautifully maps out the internal psychosocial conflicts your students will face. Erikson's theories align perfectly with the social development domain, which really kicks off around age 2 when toddlers start learning to interact. Social development is all about building relationships, learning to cooperate in groups, and understanding societal norms. In a technical training environment, teamwork and collaboration are literally everything, right? Well, those vital professional skills trace their roots all the way back to this early childhood socialization. The crucial takeaway here is that early trust and autonomy lay the absolute groundwork for a child's industry and initiative later on. If an infant learns trust and a toddler develops autonomy instead of shame, they step into preschool ready to take initiative. By the time they sit in your primary classes, aged 6 to 12, their core internal conflict is industry versus inferiority. They desperately want to build things, learn technical skills, and be productive. If we, as their teachers, encourage them, they develop that incredible industry. But if we are overly harsh, they develop a crippling sense of inferiority. And then, by the time they hit adolescence in your classroom, the massive struggle becomes identity versus role confusion. Ages 12 to 18 are such defining years. Your students are internally wrestling with, who am I? What is my place in the world? As technical educators, you play a massive transformative role here in helping them forge a positive, highly competent professional identity, steering them safely away from that role confusion. Finally, Section 6. Let us bring all of these distinct psychological theories together and focus on the holistic development of our batch. I want you to please keep this beautiful truth right at the center of your teaching philosophy. Every single child develops at their very own unique pace. While the age brackets from Herlock, Piaget, and Erikson give us a highly reliable framework, they aren't rigid walls. Your classroom is going to be filled with wildly diverse learners. Providing genuine love, steady guidance, clear communication, and advocating for proper nutrition, these are your ultimate keys to facilitating holistic development across all 6 domains. I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as future educators. You are not just teaching tools, techniques, or formulas. You are teaching developing human beings who are simultaneously navigating cognitive leaps, moral dilemmas, and intense psychosocial conflicts. So as you step out of this 42-day certification and into your future workshops and labs, how will your teaching transform now that you hold the master blueprint to their minds? Thank you so much for your immense dedication to this journey, and I wish you unparalleled success in your future classrooms.